Hi, this is Ken with Ken's Perfect Jams, and today instead of making a jam, I figured we would make our way through a recipe and use one of the jams that's on my site. So today we're featuring guava jam, though this recipe could be made with really any jam that's on my site or really any jam, but I think it'd be better with the jam from my site. We're going to make Pop-Tarts, or the fancy do-it-yourself at home version of Pop-Tarts, and since they're not really Pop-Tarts, we'll call them what they are. They're jam pastry tarts. And the great thing about these is once you make them, we're going to make up a whole bunch at once. You can put them in the freezer and you can rewarm them in the toaster, so in that way they can actually be a Pop-Tart or a toaster tart. But anyway, let me show you how to do it. I am going to take a little departure from that recipe. The recipe shows you how to make pastry to go ahead and do this, but you know, sometimes you just want to have it quick. Sometimes you just don't want to make pastry, and sometimes you're scared to make pastry and you think, I don't have this skill. So, pie crust. Commercial pie crust or puff pastry will do you just as well. So, I have some that have thawed, and I'm going to show you how to make these today with commercial refrigerated pie crust. So, what I'm going to do is open up the package, take out the pie crust, and we're going to roll it. We're going to roll it flat. So I'm going to unroll it and do this gently and roll it out to get it flat. And then take your rolling pin and go ahead and roll over it a couple of times. If you were screaming when I picked up my rolling pin saying, "Oh my God, he didn't flour his rolling pin," it's a non-stick rolling pin. They exist now. So I love this thing. You might want to try and find one for yourselves. But see, there it is. It's all rolled out nice and neat. Now the fun part of it, all you need's an index card. This is the right size. We are going to cut rectangles as we need because we're going to be sandwiching these. When you cut out your initial rectangles, you'll have some scraps left. All you need to do is roll out the dough, ball the scraps up, roll the dough out. I'm having a little trouble because my paper is not anchored. And it's looking like it's 5 rectangles per crust. So I will do the same thing with the other crust, and then we will go on to the next step in the process. My rectangles are cut. So it is now assembly time. For those of you who bake and are used to using egg washes, this will make sense to you, and this will make perfect sense to you, and it'll be nice and easy. For those of you who haven't done this before, I will explain this step by step. We'll go through it step by step. It's just me and my wonderful cameraman Ryan here today, so I'm gonna use my fingers. But normally for this next part, the egg wash And the half and half on top, or milk or water, depending on what you want to use, would normally be applied with pastry brushes. But I'm just going to use my fingers because it's quick and it's easy and I can be really precise. So we're going to egg wash around the edges of all 5 of these rectangles. And actually doing it this way, this is good because there was one, in each batch there was one rectangle that was, the shape was a little wonky, so I can actually put those 2 together and life will be good without me having to hunt for it. So that makes me happy. Once the egg wash is done on each one of those, then we're going to go ahead and fill them in with the jam. Oh, I love the smell of the guava. I forgot how much I love the smell of the guava. I find that a healthy tablespoon is good for filling these. But you want to leave your egg washed borders clear, and you're going to put the jam in the middle of the rectangle that you made with the egg wash. And just so that you can see the difference, and I'm kind of curious too, I'm going to put 1.5 tablespoons in one, and we'll put 1 tablespoon in the other. It'll be an experiment. An experiment. That's a better tablespoon. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Okay, this is number 3. Just to the egg wash border, not over. Excellent. Now we're going to top these with, that one's spreading a bit. The experiment spreading. Gotta be quick. I gotta be quick. There we go. I'm actually going to take this one, it's a little wider. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do on this since it's spreading pretty quickly. You want to seal the edges by crimping them with your fork. I do one edge, then the next, and then I do the opposite. Because if you do the short side, it'll actually force everything out the long side. So if you do, and see, even a little bit's cheating out there, but we probably caught it. It won't get any worse than that. You can move these. So I'll rotate it, crimp this side. So now all the edges are sealed. They're crimped and sealed with the fork. And now we're going to put some fork holes in it so that it can vent. Isn't that pretty? And then this will go on our baking sheet. There, now we're just gonna do that with the others. And then we'll be ready to go. Okay, so they are all laid out now. There's one more step. This is the other thing that would use a pastry brush. I like to use half and half for this because I've noticed that if you use something that has a little more fat in it, the sugar really glistens and it becomes really crackly on top of your pastry. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to coat the top of these thinly with half and half, and then we're going to sprinkle raw sugar on top. You can use raw sugar, you could use sugar crystals, you could use coarse sugar, you could use baker's sugar, you could use sugar crystals, you could use colored crystals. Really, the world is at your command. Basically what I do is I take 3 fingers and I just paint it down the top. And so that we could tell the difference between the others and the experiment. The experiment's the one with the diagonal vents, and the other ones all have straight vents. Then we're just going to lightly sprinkle them with raw sugar, or the sugar of your choice. And see how simple this is? After watching the recipe once, you could go print it out, and you could follow along and we could do it together, because none of the steps are that difficult. It is that easy. There we go. Okay, so we're going to bake these now. And what temperature, you ask? Let's just look at the recipe. I know I put it out here. Ah, there it is, 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. So our oven's preheating. They're gonna go in the oven now. And let's check back in 15 to 20 minutes, okay? And we're back. They're a little light, which will happen with commercial pie crust, but they're still fine. They're nice and solid. This one's the experiment. 1.5 tablespoons is too much. It leaked. So we did our science. We know it's gonna happen. So, and these are all fine. So yes, stick with 1 tablespoon. It should be 1 tablespoon of filling for something that's 3 by 5 or 3.5 by 5.5 or 3 by 6, whichever size your index cards happen to be. Sorry about that, I got a little tongue twisted. And for those of you who were wondering, I use half a jar, maybe 3/4 of a jar of the jam. So 1 jar of jam would probably do a double recipe easily, since we'd put extra jam in this one and in a few of the others. So if you want to do what I did today, it's going to take about half a jar of jam, or about 4 ounces of jam. And I guess that's about it. Taste test. You probably want me to taste these. They're kind of warm, but I can do that with this one since it's oozing already. Okay, did you hear that? It is actually quite flaky. And it's also quite hot. Ooh, it is oozing. 1.5 is too much. Oh, but it tastes so good. There you go. You can still see the flakes. I would probably let them cool a little bit longer. I only let them cool for 5 minutes. If you let them cool a little longer, then the jam will set back up. Right now, the jam is very liquidy. But there you go. Jam pastry tarts. My favorite thing to do with these is to pop them into Ziploc sandwich bags and throw them in the freezer. And then you can reheat them in a toaster oven really easily. It's like 2.5 minutes. Thanks for joining us today. Once again, I'm Ken. Check out our other videos on our YouTube channel. And if you like what you saw today, please subscribe. Thumbs up if you like the video too. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.